This show originally was going to be about how crazy family court judges are. Well, apparently Judge Eric Moye out of Dallas, Texas saw my last video and said, "Hold my beer." Well, in his case it would have been a White Claw. You see, this clown shoe decided to hell with the law. He's going to take a single mother who's actually wanting to work and throw her in jail for contempt of court on Mother's Day weekend. Let's watch this pillar of the community dispense justice on the very person that pays his $140,000 salary. But wait. Before we get into Eric Moye's story, how did a single mother with a thriving salon get tossed into Shawshank? I can't say the word or YouTube will take the video down. Hey, they're dismantling our gun rights right in front of our eyes. You think they're not going to trample our First Amendment rights as well? But due to the bug that we are all familiar with, businesses were voluntarily shut down to stop the spread. My understanding, and you'll hear from the famous retired judge that I got my information from, is that all this has been voluntary. Well, Judge Sergeant Schultz, Clay Jenkins, seen here talking to the press. Oh wait, I'm sorry. This was when he was working on Obama's campaign back in 2008. Here he is explaining to the people of Dallas the proper way to avoid the bug. Apparently, he was also the brainchild behind mandating face mask use on April 16th, or you get a max fine of $1,000 and 180 days in jail. It was so over the top, even the Dallas County Commissioner Court called an emergency meeting the next day to ask the Gestapo what was going through his crazy head. In the meantime, single mother salon small business owner Shelley Luther, facing mounting debts due to being shut down, stresses from her contractors, who also can't feed their family, decides to open her store. Mind you, she didn't open to get a new car, put a pool in, or go on a vacay. It was to feed her children as well as provide a way, one of the reasons you're supposed to be in business, for the other people to provide for their family. Now, according to all reports, and I'm not an expert, salons have to go through a very rigorous training process, and their cleaning requirements oversaw by the TDLR rivals hospitals. You can do a search to get more specific information at the link below. What I wanted to point out though is that the very last item on the list is that they change the air 4 to 10 times an hour. Pretty rigorous. So she opens, and the Nazi sympathizers, you know who you are, report her. All I can say about those people are, you asking for a baskin. And the Colonel Klink of the group, Judge Moye, issues a temporary restraining order. I see why he is probably mad about all this. The TRO was unconstitutional, so she tore it up. She asked for others to open their doors as well, but she was then ordered to kangaroo court by Moye presiding.
Judge Dre residing. In the case of NWA versus the police.
Now, the hour-long video can be found at the link below, but I wanted to point out the attitude.
Include, sit down and be quiet. I am not through speaking. Do not say another word while I'm speaking.
If you listen carefully, you can actually hear what this is all about.
That you owe an apology to the elected officials whom you disrespected.
And if you can't figure it out, you can read it in his own handwriting from the release. Now, if you're still dumb or numb or both, basically she refused to bow down to the gods of the court and he didn't like it. Look at his eyes as Moye is defied.
I have to disagree with you, sir, when you say
and
that
because
I'm selfish.
Moye
because
can't handle the bruise to his ego, puts her in jail for 7 days for contempt of court. I like Hot Rod's position on this.
I will be held in contempt of this court.
I have nothing but contempt for this court.
I never thought I'd be using an NWA story to tell this, but in listening to the song, Moye has become the police. Now listen to an honorable judge's opinion on the matter.
I have to disagree with you, sir, when you say that I'm selfish, because feeding kids is not selfish. I have hairstylists that are going hungry because they'd rather feed their kids. So, sir, if you think the law is more important than kids getting fed, then please go ahead with your decision, but I'm not going to shut the salon.
All right. Let's bring in Judge Andrew Napolitano for his take on this. Go at it. What's the verdict here, Judge?
You know, I'm smiling here because you and I have a record of consecutive agreements. Yes. I mean, the behavior of this judge is simply beyond the pale and beyond the ability of this former judge to comprehend or to defend. She was actually incarcerated not for opening up the shop, but for defying his order to close the shop. The judge acknowledged that the governor does not have the authority to order her to close the shop, but he does. And when he, the judge, an elected judge, not a life-appointed judge, told her to open the shop, to close the shop, and she said no, that's what he put her in jail for defying him, not for defying the governor. So by doing that, he is making policy and he is violating her constitutional right to engage in interstate commerce by practicing a profession that the state has licensed her to practice, using the most aggressive sanitary means available, which you just kindly described. So rather than alleviating pain, this judge exacerbated the pain of this woman by putting her in jail for doing something that as of 8 o'clock tomorrow morning would be perfectly lawful in the state of Texas.
I suspect, Judge, that Ms. Luther is going to become the poster child for resistance to unlawful behavior, resistance to the lockdown, a rallying cry, a person who is going to represent, I hesitate to use the word the resistance, but the call to reopen, get on with it. She's the poster child for this now.
You know what really got me on this? Not only that the judge was exceeding his authority, but that he said, I'll make you a deal. If you admit you're selfish, I won't put you in jail. That has nothing to do with the judicial function. And for him to extort out of her words that go against her moral views in return for not going to jail is a violation of the canon of judicial ethics, and he has no business running his courtroom that way. This woman is an American hero because unlawful power must be resisted, otherwise it gets worse.
My goodness me, Judge, this is incredible. What a
I would say that Moye stepped on his tallywhacker on this one, but you know. The response has been swift with the leaders running their mouths, but even they know they can't do anything about it. It's all political muscle and each side's posturing. Well, at least Dan Patrick, he ponied up the $7,000 fine. Incidentally, that is 5% of Eric's yearly salary, that we know of. But who is Eric Moye? Let's go to his webpage. Blah, blah, blah. He's a judge. He has 25 years civil legal experience. Whatever. And then his pedigree. In the words of a guy I used to work with, my degrees and certifications would baffle you, as he sat at his desk eating his boogers. Let's read Eric's message with a straight face. And I love this last one. This election must be about the kind of future we create for our children and grandchildren. This election is about remembering where we were 7 Up years ago. I guess he's referencing the 7 Up guy. The Republicans want us to forget that our economy was in the worst downturn since the Great Depression. We need leadership which will bring people together and make us stronger, not which seeks to divide us. Any objective observer will conclude that based on her ideas, Hillary Clinton must become the next president of the United States. Hypocrisy. Man, I gotta stop using words I can't pronounce.
Do so will only have catastrophic.
Hypocrisy. How does this on his own page work with what he wrote about Trump and that Hillary must be the next president? I didn't write this, he did. And y'all in Dallas voted him in. Want to fix the problem? Well, I have some thoughts. Vote. Vote Moye out. Yeah, in Texas, or is this New York or California? I really can't tell anymore. We elect our judges rather than have them appointed. He ran unopposed last session and is up for re-election this November. Vote him out. Jessica Boyce Lewis is running against Moye this November. Check out her impressive credentials. Could she be any worse than old Gulag Moye? A quick Google search of Jessica Boyce Lewis doesn't show anything weird, like, throwdowns with the judges in their chambers when you don't get what you want, and then going all gangsta on a lady because she wouldn't let you merge in traffic. Shelley Luther, you are our Rona Parks. Thank you for standing up for all of us sheeple that sit in our homes cowering. For everyone that is offended by what Judge Moye did, understand that this happens every single day in his court as well as the family courts. Our judges, lawyers, and elected officials simply do not care. And it's up to us to change that. You can see what I mean by looking at my other videos on my page. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Have a good rest of your day, if Moye allows it.